Hey guys, Glenn here, author of The Middle Ground, host of The Middle Ground book live. And this is actually our first episode, so I'm very, very excited. I have a great guest for you. It is the host of the Relationship Flow podcast, Goldsmith, and he is flanked by his beautiful, beautiful soulmate wife, Masha, aka Teeny Pops 613, guys. So they have a weekly podcast that they do from their home country of Israel that talks about some of the tenets that we share here at the Middle Ground. So make sure that you click on, you like, you subscribe to what we're doing here at the Middle Ground, however you came to us, whether it was through Facebook, whether it was through TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram. Thank you so much. Also, please share this episode and future episodes and past episodes, and let us know in the comments below what you think of the time with the guest. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get directly into the Middle Ground book live. This is going to be our first live, and we're so excited that you guys are able to join us. Thank you.
Yeah, so welcome to our Relationship Flow meets the Middle Ground. That's Glenn Sandify. We're so happy to be here. And we know that this guy, Glenn's doing some big stuff in the relationship space, especially with dating and marriage, something which we have a lot of respect for. You know, we've gone on our journey, and we know how important part of our life was that we were able to find each other and get to that focus in life. And even though now we're married 21 years plus, it's been a struggle, the two of us. Yeah, congrats. And but it's been a struggle that we know that we're on the right way, like we're getting closer.
We want to go on it together.
Exactly. So I'm Eddie Goldsmith. This is my soulmate, Masha Goldsmith, aka Teeny Pop 613, and she's honoring us with her presence. We did do a pre-game episode together, just Glenn and I, but to have my soulmate present is a whole nother level, and we appreciate Glenn making the space for us to do our thing.
Thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak with both of you and your audience with the Relationship Flow podcast. I am interested, and I think a lot of people are that may not know, soulmate. What is kind of the context behind the language around soulmate? It's very intentional for those of us that have grown up with a faith-based belief system. So talk to us a little bit about why you guys like to use that.
Well, from the first time we met, there was always that soul connection. Even though, like, I was living in, as we spoke in my previous episode together, previous conversation, we spoke about, that we weren't really in that space of soul connection. There was other focuses, but by the time we were having a very deep friendship, there was definitely a flow of soul. You agree?
Yeah, we
just knew.
We just felt like we knew each other in a past life or something. It was like weird. We've been connected before. There's something, we know each other. There was like this familiarity of soul, I think.
And we had all the other kinds of like good guy and girl, man and woman flow in terms of attraction, and the lifestyle, similar kinds of goals, and conversation flowed. But the soul thing really was like very, very profound and overwhelming. It was almost like tearful because it was so.
Yeah. Well, we were also at a stage of our life where we were kind of like tired of the way people in the world were just becoming very superficial and more material, and we were going on our own soul journey as well, which is how we also connected. Because we just had very deep, real conversations about life and things. So we were open. We were very open, but we also saw that we were. Our souls were connecting. We had a similar vision.
And it manifested in like creative spaces as well. In terms of, my wife's an artist and dancer, and she has all those skills. And I was a musician and in the music space, and there was just like this need to express and share. Like, we shared gifts with each other that were more meaningful, even poems and books and candles.
For his 18th birthday, everyone was giving him these like fancy presents, and I decorated a shoebox and I put in like a kaleidoscope and Mr. Daydream, because we just always were dreaming, and my favorite poem by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken, and I put in a little frame, like little meaningful things that I put in this box, and I gave it to him. And I was quite nervous because an 18th is quite a big birthday, and he was getting these really nice presents, but I wanted it to be more soulful.
But I do appreciate we had that physical connection as well when we met the first time running around the gym.
Yeah.
In fact, we met before that even. We were like going over, it's called shoe hopping. You know, like
shoe hopping or shorts?
So we didn't grow up religious, but we go to the synagogue, on the festivals, and we'd like hop. Like, it was kind of more like a social scene.
Yeah. So we met each other out. So that was the first time we met.
I saw you. We weren't introduced there.
Yeah. The second time we actually spoke was running around the gym.
Okay. And did you saw him? Did it did the sky light up and you say, I got to get to know that man over there, but not today?
No, very much.
Did I look like this then?
No, he looked really good.
He looked really good, meaning he doesn't look good now.
I tell you what, like, he looked like the perfect for
the look of that
time. Look of that time. He was like the look, and like all the girls liked him. But it's very interesting because as we've been together for much longer, I see him in such a different way. Like, I feel he's more good looking to me now because it's not just about the looks. It's something much deeper.
Well, you guys use the language around soulmate, but here in the West, that is looked at from a romantic standpoint. I'm looking for my soulmate and the person that I can be my person in my life.
Right.
But even as you both articulated it, it is deeper than just a topical romantic infatuation. It almost sounds like the different versions of love that are talked about in spiritual readings of what you guys have. And it sounds like it didn't grow. It started that way. So was that part of it?
But what I tell Ellie, which is so important, is it started that way, but it has to be nurtured. We can't take it for granted. Like sometimes, during more harder times in a relationship where we just, frustrated and we're like, and we feel the soul connection and that keeps us going. But I'm like, but we can't just take it for granted that we have the soul connection and that's such a strong thing, and it started that way. We have to water.
One of our hard time periods where we almost felt like maybe our marriage wasn't working out, we had a spiritual mentor who saw that soul connection in us and gave us a tremendous amount of encouragement, but also gave us, and when I mean encouragement in the soul connection, like we can get through anything with this.
Basically, he said that if you were in a situation where you had to like sleep in a hut on like straw beds, you'd still want to be with each other. And he drew like famous stories from from history, mystical figures who managed to have marriages like that. And then at the same time, he gave my wife, my soulmate, a lot of practical advice of how to nurture herself so that our relationship would also be strong in all the other areas. Yeah, I think that
he's still in our life doing that. He's still present.
I think basically it was a time. It was a time of my life where I realized, in terms of when things were a little bit rocky, was I needed to learn that you have to have a relationship with yourself, and you have to love yourself, and you have to have. And I've always been very self-aware, but
you neglected yourself
through a lot of
being a mommy
and also hard.
We have 6 children, just so anyone out there should know.
6.
And they were quite close together. And thank God now they're like, we've got a 20-year-old, and we're in a completely different space.
Yeah, you're in a different space.
I understand that he couldn't save me, and he couldn't.
Oh.
So that it's often one thinks, your soulmate or your partner is meant to save you and make you happy, but you enhance each other and you're happy with each other, but.
That's actually a good point, though.
You have to fill up your hole.
you have to fill your hole. So another problem, we talked about kind of the romanticized version of what a relationship and a soulmate is. But sometimes we find at the middle ground that when people do get into a relationship, they say, I lost myself. But you guys are saying you guys have been very intentional from a relationship standpoint to be able to have the space to invest and know who I am and grow and develop. I see that a lot and I deal particularly more with men, but even for the women that I've had the privilege of speaking to and their wives, it's been, I've lost me. I don't know who I am. And a lot of times it sounds like, Ellie, you did a great job of this, of understanding that as a woman, as a wife, as a mother, and then the different seasons, I guess, of parenting, there was a change, and you guys made sure that you were intentional about allowing you to have that space to grow and develop, and then just work on your words for self-care. I think that's really important.
I'll give you another thought that a lot of couples don't know about maybe nowadays because they maybe haven't seen it enough. But we also have a very strong vision of what we're going to do when we're older. When we're in the golden days of our life, we've worked hard, our kids are busy with whatever and their children, hopefully by that time. And we can just truly and purely enjoy the fact that we're soulmates and married. And it's something that we look forward to.
Yeah, we look forward
to. We have like glimpses of it at the end of the day, or when we go on our weekly dates, or, when we have our intimate times. But, these are moments where we can just sort of go off into our own world as a couple. Mm-hmm. But generally, like, it's, the kids and work and pressures are very, intense right at this point of our life. So like we were mentioning as well, there's a festival coming up that has a big, impact on the schedule right now. And you have to still even then make time for the relationship.
But we do make time. We like at 9:30.
Which is this time.
At 9:30 we say goodnight. The younger ones go to bed, the older ones do their own thing. Our doors close, and it's our time. And and that's
and really, how much. So from a blueprint standpoint, is it like 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, or however the mood kind of takes you, or however the moment takes you, of where your intention about connecting with one another?
I don't understand. At night when we go to
at night
room?
So everyone's down, so being intentional about kind of the framework you have it, but do you guys put time limits or things on it?
No, there's no time. I can fall asleep.
Yeah, these days
I wake up at 5:30 every morning, so so I get quite tired, but we just love just listening to music together and just like connecting, or even our intimate life is very important. And that's also really, really important in a relationship.
It's also like we have, remember, the world doesn't know about this so much, but Andrew Huberman pulled it up recently, the idea of 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I don't know if it's discussed, but let's dive into that. 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So in our faith, when you're not having our spiritual system, when you're not having children right now, so then the wife is,
No, it's not with children. When a woman is menstruating.
Yeah. So right now we're not having children, so you're menstruating 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Oh, meaning I'm not. No, yeah, right.
So it's not exactly 2 weeks, because we also add on an extra week just to really. I don't know why, but we do. The system. Yeah. But the point is that what it does is it creates a tremendous excitement, a renewal in the relationship. Mm-hmm. The night of when we reconnect is a very special night. There's a tremendous energy.
It's as if it's the first time.
Yeah, like we just got married. It's like a wedding night every month, and then the times after that are different. But the point is, it's exciting to build towards that every 2 weeks, and the separation time works with obviously the menstruation, and that.
It gives a woman a break, and it also gives time to also work on your relationship of your friendship side of things. It's not only about only about the physical. There's so many.
Also, brother, sister. There's other aspects of our relationship that we felt before we got married. Like we said, that soul connection. The soul level means all the different aspects of you can have relationship with other person, they're all given their time for like focus. So we have the husband wife, we have the brother sister friends. Like there's all different kinds of ways of connecting, and it's important that those 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off give you that. And obviously, as you get towards the end of the 2 weeks of separation, the drive and the intensity grows. Like if you have a healthy, in that sense, and you're excited for each other, so then it just gets more and more like exciting and builds up, and then it's like the ultimate date night every month, instead of it just being again, done this before kind of thing. It's completely like renewed.
So what encouraged you guys to begin the Relationship Flow podcast?
So that's a good question.
He started it himself. I don't know how.
I had 3 podcasts.
I'm quite a private person. I'm very expressive and open when I talk to people. I really enjoy having deep conversations. I'll always be open about myself when I'm talking to people, but to expose myself like on social media or things, it's a little bit, I get a little bit more nervous, but so maybe that's.
But eventually you agreed.
Yeah, I agreed.
And I knew that really to make a relationship flow, it shouldn't just be one-sided. And we do watch other couples like Cara and Nate. They're like a YouTuber couple who go around. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're really cool, fun people, go around, travel hundreds of countries. We've watched these kind of like YouTubers who seem to have really good relationships and are able to communicate without getting specifically into the relationship focus, but it comes up every so on.
I think we also just wanted to, we're very real people. We're not trying to pretend that it's all easy, and we're not trying to pretend we know everything. We just thought it would be also just nice to just share what we go through, what's worked for us, and when things are hard as well, and how we deal with that also.
And there were examples, like back in the day, Tom Billy used to do a podcast with his wife. I don't know if he still does it, Relationship Theory, I think it's called. There was just a bunch of people doing it at some points. Who else? Recently, I see Jay Shetty. He's actually working with my family, funny enough, now. So Jay Shetty's got a really successful relationship podcast, and he has his wife on it every so on. Not that often, but I just feel like my wife is a much deeper expression than emotionally than what I would be able to do. So it balances me out. I'm much more like floaty, or like, what's the word?
Aspirational, dreamer, abstract. There it is.
Yeah. So it's very important for me to be brought down, to be relatable, because I can take people on spiritual journeys if they want, but my real goal is to know how to be spiritual down here, how to be spiritual with the wife, with the soulmate, how to be spiritual with the kids, how to handle money situations, like real life. And that's where the real struggle is, because I can definitely be spiritual, no problem. Like that's natural, that's easy for me. This is where it's the real fight begins, in the real world, in the real daily grind. And that's my wife as soulmate is helping me to spiritualize those aspects of my life by being hopefully valued and having good values and living them. And I feel like people right now are missing that focus, not because of their fault, but just because people like you and myself, we haven't yet become as big and mainstream as we need to be. And the voices out there of mainstream media generally missing that. So there's a big space right now for people like ourselves to really impact and emphasize the relationship values and how important they are. Jay Shetty's doing a pretty good job, but like I said, there's much more room for more. There's that Stefan guy just had on his podcast, but there's still so much room for more, because everyone's coming from different perspectives, different experiences, and I think our unique journey can really help give hope to people that there's a deeper level of relationship flow and success. So I think that's one of the reasons why we did the podcast.
Okay.
And also to show what we spoke about before, knowing who you are and having place to find out who you are, because in order to have a relationship with somebody else, you have to know who you are and what you want, and what your values and aspirations are. I think that's very
That's actually a really good transition. So at the middle ground, we believe that everyone can have the relationship outcome that they're looking for. You just first have to know who you are, know what you want, know what you qualify for, and know for who you qualify for, what they want from you. So it sounds like you guys met each other at a kind of a formative stage, entering adulthood, and then there were kind of some ebbs and flows with it. How would you say and give advice to the audience after going through that process of what we spoke of the core 4 tenets? How do you keep the relationship moving and thriving as individuals do change it?
You want to go? I think, well, first of all, as you said, we started straight away with that soul connection, and what I said before is the need to nurture it. And I also came into our relationship with a bit less self-confidence, and as much as I was aware of myself, but I was still finding myself. So I think it's really important in your relationship to always keep on trying to what's the word, like taking account, like
we always say in our podcast is to
regroup. We basically we always regroup with ourselves and regroup with each other. So it's not like something that, okay, this is it, this is who I am, this is who we are, this is how we do things. Because there's always new things happening, new things being thrown at us, new dynamics, and
also,
and we're evolving people as well. So it's just,
I think people also
regrouping.
Exactly. I think people need to realize there's a process as well. They're way too impatient. Like, people need to give much more time for the relationship. They're like, well, I can just get divorced, God forbid. Yeah. It's so easy to just get yourself out of that, and that's not really the right mindset. Like I said, you have to have a long-term plan. It has to be the long game. And example would be our spiritual mentor. One of the things he said, which is very important for me to hear, was that your wife needs to know that you really love her. And to you think, well, I married her, obviously I do, but sometimes it's more than that. You have to, but not sometimes, it always is. So you have to really be patient with that process until that moment when my soulmate turned to me and said, I now know you love me. Like, really. Remember that? And that was like years into our relationship. Years.
It was
and we had kids, and we've done all the things a relationship do, but for her to really feel that I love her, because I'm coming from England, a bit more like cold-hearted, like business background, the music world, tough sort of mindset. And it took me a lot for our generation to sort of undo some of the lack of emotional healthiness of the previous generation, to start to becoming more emotionally attuned and more expressive of love and more empathetic and all the good things that people need to do in relationships. But it took a process. It wasn't immediate.
We had to learn each other.
Yeah.
Just as we're learning ourselves, we also had to learn each other. And I think that's really, and also knowing we're totally different.
We're also safe with each other as well.
We're very safe.
When we've done some crazy things to each other in terms of like not respected each other's boundaries and spaces and stuff, but we're still able to forgive.
We're safe because we're able to talk about it. We talk everything out, and even with our kids, honestly, our kids.
So if you ever get into
the
next book, when you start talking about children,
oh God.
No, but just we talk away everything is
out. No, so the next book, kids, I will let you all do the book and the podcast first on parenting, because my wife and I are still on that parenting journey. Our kids are very young, but it's forced us to do a lot of things. I often talk about and say, for a relationship, if you can do the core 4 tenets and you're willing to do the work, as a man, you sign up for duty and responsibility, and then you have to learn to love. And that is taking all the information from the past of the woman that you're choosing. For women, they have to make a bet. You all have to make a bet and say, all right, this guy eventually is going to love me the way that I need to love, provide, protect, profess, priest in our home, and continue the legacy and move it forward. So it sounds like this is a great example, guys, for the two of you. I love this relationship, and I love the honesty and transparency that just following some basic tenets, whether they're tenets of your faith, whether they're tenets of your upbringing, can really lead to a great relationship outcome. What, outside of a couple of things that you said, which is work on yourself, work on the relationship by nurturing it, what can people do to prepare themselves for that relationship on the front end so that they're ready to do the work in the relationship?
Knowing what your triggers are,
okay,
which is really important. Yeah. I think that's a really important, because so often things, your husband, your wife could say something or do something or act in a certain way that can trigger you. That's you translate it into something else because it's a trigger from something you've been through in your past, and you react in a certain way, or you think, oh, they're not being nice, or he's not meant to be, she's not meant to be for me. But it's when you have an understanding of what your triggers are, and it definitely helps to have easier communication and responses. So I think it goes back to just knowing who you're, understanding.
That's self-awareness.
Understanding yourself, understanding your.
We even though it was still quite superficial and when we were teenagers, but we still, according to that time of our life, were really working hard to be more self-aware.
Yeah.
So we could appreciate each other. By the time we were in our early 20s, when we got married, we were just knew enough about each other, right, that there was a connection. And that self-awareness, people need to really step out of all the noise. We took a break from the world,
Yeah, we did.
I was running nightclubs before that and all kinds of noise, and I just said bye. I actually only had one phone number that was a lady on my phone, and it was my best friend at that time, which became my wife. So literally just eliminated all the noise. Imagine nowadays only having one, opposite sex on your phone. And this wasn't from religion. No one was coercing me. Wasn't any rabbi or priest or anybody out there telling me to do this. I just came to this awareness. I need to turn the TV off, which would be nowadays whatever the phone is. I needed to just disconnect from all that noise and just focus in on who I am as a person. Then I could see who the other person is. So everyone just needs a bit of cleansing. Like, Jay Shetty talks about his years as a monk, monk wisdom. I mean, whatever path it is, but you've got to have just
and know to communicate as well.
Yeah, and then once you've done that, you should hopefully communicate, because now the noise isn't there, the distraction isn't there.
So it sounds like other work on the front end, audience, is make sure you know your triggers. In our book and at the Middle Ground, we talk about the traumas. The traumas, both learned, unlearned, and unexperienced, kind of lead us to a belief system. Perfect example. We say that for the modern woman believes that education, career has to be achieved in order to get the protection and the provisions and the long-term building, because there are not enough men that are willing to be in that traditional role. So we say, if that's the case, great, find a modern man. But if you find yourself not having the relationship outcomes that you want and you're triggered, there is something here emotionally we have to work with, and we say those traumas need to be therapy. So we always recommend, if there is a true medical diagnosis that goes undiagnosed, or there is a deep trauma rooted through a loss or an incident, we always tell people to get that therapy, because working on that allows you to become the best version of yourself for your future significant other or partner in your life. So I'll do one last thing, and I got one question, because a lot of the stuff that you guys are saying is great. Can one of you or both of you kind of give what was kind of the family dynamic? Mom, dad, religious belief, location, and how has it? Yeah.
Our parents?
Our parents?
Yeah.
Oh, my parents got divorced when I was 3.
Okay.
Not religious, traditional, but not religious. And my father moved to a different country when I was 6. My brother and I would travel to go see him during our school holidays. So that's.
And when we got together, they were very happy about us getting together. Your parents.
My
parents were like, "Oh my God, what's going on with my son? Like, we want him to be a lawyer." Or
so his parents were worried.
Be in the music business.
I'm from like a dysfunctional family. My parents are divorced.
Yeah. What are you marrying into this family who, blah blah blah? Because there was also, in England, there's more of a class system. Like they're more like, the higher class, like in terms of
his family are more
status and VIP sort of. So it was like, it's a bit snobbish, but that was how it was. And, and also they've seen how we've given up a lot for our journey together, and they don't understand it completely, because for them, they struggled so hard to be successful. That should be the focus more than anything, whereas, I would say that our relationship is, thank God, is on a whole nother level than where we grew up.
I think your parents really both our parents really appreciate our relationship.
Yeah.
They see how much we work.
Like her father on we just made it's called a bar mitzvah. I'm sure everyone knows what bar mitzvahs are, because Adam Sandler popularized it. But the point, maybe it wasn't just him, maybe it just always was in Hollywood or whatever. But the point is that we just made one. It was our last one of our boys. And her father saw us at that moment sitting in this nice Airbnb on the couch at the end point of that. And he was just like, he gets that we're soul, connection. He has that moment of like soul. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He just got it. And my father as well has had those moments with us as well. And it's nice to see when there's those good moments, when we're not talking about money or struggles or the kids, when there's just a moment of recognition from our parents. There's a good thing going on here. And that's really validating,
Yeah, that's really great, guys, because a lot of times what I hear is, I came from this background, so I won't have any success. You guys have said that's turned that theory on its ear, and not only thrive in your relationship, but are providing a blueprint for other people. And that's really, really admirable from our standpoint, for myself and for us here at the Middle Ground. Last question. There are 6 types of men and 6 types of women. I'm going to ask each of you. So I'll ask first, what type of man would you identify as best? Let's take out what I know you're not. You're not a boy. You're not an F boy. Would you be a guy, a male, modern man, traditional man, or high value?
Between the guy and the high ground, I think.
Guy and high value? You're not a guy. The guys are just dudes they're at here we have Target's international. Target, Starbucks, so high value. And
high value.
Yeah.
You're not traditional. No, you're not traditional.
High value.
Not traditional. He's not. He's working on it to be more.
Yeah.
But he's not.
She helps him with the tradition.
He's not a natural, traditional, typical.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself more revolutionary in the way I think and do things. I'm looking to the future for a whole different way of humanity. That's like, I believe very deeply that I can help a lot of the world, not in like a egotistical way, just in a purely human way, reconnect to the soul. And that will save us a lot of stress in relationships with the new technological things that are coming. And I think that it's the idea of a relationship where that is the most manifest. That's why it's so important that I develop this with my wife and my soulmate, as hard as it sometimes is, because it's really where the true mission of what I feel I'm here for comes alive, even though it's like probably the hardest place. All
right. What are some projects that you both have coming up that you'd like to share with the audience?
So we have, my wife and I are going to continue the Relationship Flow podcast. I think that the Unity bookings, the idea of working with a lot of speakers and creatives, artists, mentalists, all different kinds of Unity-focused people who are very good role models, very uplifted in their journey and their personal growth. and they're sharing a lot of light, to keep helping support them in doing that. Myself, keep doing that. Watch my wife in her unique way do it. Not know how she's going to do it, but she's going to do it. And also seeing it starting to happen amongst my children and the community I'm in, and just generating a lot of positive light in a world that, you know, needs it more than ever. And I think also I would like to consolidate the concepts in a book, United Souls. I have on Substack, but I'd like to really get the book, solid and share it with others and have them contribute. And I think that the world needs more and more content that's like this kind of conversation. We really need to mainstream this kind of content, because it's too much show-off stuff going on, and it's superficial nonsense, and people themselves are not happy from it. And it's sad to watch. If they just really would turn a bit more inward and do that inner work that we're trying to do, they would find much more wisdom, much more happiness, much more real content to share. They just need to... It's
hard work, though. That's the thing.
They have to face their pain. Stop escaping.
You really have to face yourself to do what we're doing, and it's hard. Sometimes it's hard, but it's the only way, I think.
We all need a moment of chilling out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm this guru or something. Mm-hmm. We all need moments to chill out. All of us. We're all human, and that's part of humanity. But to only chill out, to only avoid and escape and think that's going to bring happiness in relationships, it's nonsense. They're missing who they are, and they're missing the other person in their life, and they have to tune into that core truth of who they are and be real with it.
Okay. Well, guys, we're coming up on time, but I definitely want to thank you both for the opportunity to speak to your audience and for you to share your story with our audience here at the Middle Ground. Where can the audience connect with you all?
So you've done the promotion for us, Relationship Flow podcast, and I'd like to hear more from your content as well. The Middle Ground is definitely needed, and we're just excited to see collaborative projects like this. That's my Unity Inspires projects is my main brand of bringing together
like-minded. Or even not, but like-minded.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see where this can all develop. I'm definitely trying to ground myself more and more, like you wrote in your book, the middle ground, finding that place to build from, and I think that's really important. I think I can learn a lot from you as well, Glenn.
Okay. Well, I thank you both again for your time today. I know it's late where you are, and we're in Passover, correct? So I know it's coming. Passover is coming. So the preparation. That's right. There's Passover and there's the preparation for it. So I understand you guys have made a big sacrifice, which is an investment in the relationship that we all have. So I thank you guys for this time. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Make sure you guys, to get more content like this, you click or subscribe to the channel below, and we'll make sure that we tag all of the links so you can connect with the Relationship Flow podcast. I've been Glenn, and welcome to the Middle Ground.